Stir constantly.
Not jelly. What the? Come on, Amy.
I don't know how to say it scientifically.
This little guy's name is
Hey y'all, I'm Amy. Welcome back to Misty Dawn Farm. Today we are in the kitchen because today I am making grape jelly. And I figured I'd bring y'all with me and show you how I do it. So I make muscadine grape jelly from muscadine grapes that grow here on the farm. What I did is in the fall when we picked the grapes, I washed them and I put them in a gallon freezer bag and put them in the freezer for whenever I had time to get to the jelly. Well, here we are in the next year, most of the way through winter, and I'm finally getting to it. But better late than never. So 2 days ago, what I did, which I should have filmed that step and I didn't, sorry. What I do is I take a bag of grapes, 1 gallon bag of frozen grapes, and I put them in a pot with about a cup of water. And then it takes a good little while to cook it down on medium heat to get it all cooked down, and then I use a potato masher and I mash them up and I cook them down a little bit more, and then I strain it off. But if you were doing it fresh, it only takes about 20 minutes to cook down the grapes. Because I do it from a frozen point, it takes longer. But anyway, I just cook it down, mash it up, cook it down some more, and then I strain it through either several layers of cheesecloth, or you could just use like a rag or something, and I strain it. And I got me some grape juice. So, it smells so good. Y'all don't know what muscadine grapes smell like. I say muscadine, some people say muscadine. Point is, they're good grapes and they smell great. So, what we're going to do here today is we've got our grape juice. And this is the simplest of recipes, y'all. Anybody can do this, and this is a great thing to do at like the beginning stages of learning how to can, because all it takes is a water bath canner, some juice and sugar, and a little bit of pectin, and you're ready to go. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is in my pot here, quick story. I don't like to use the Teflon lined pots. Okay, I have one. I usually don't like to use this one. I like my stainless steel stock pots. But y'all, my best stainless steel stock pot, a little while back, I had some scraps in it, and I took it out to dump the scraps. And I was coming back in, I was walking past our carport garage area, and I remembered I needed to do something. So I set the pot down behind my husband's truck on the ground, thinking I'm going to walk right past here when I come back inside and I'll grab it. I didn't come back inside that way because I got distracted and came back a different way. And then later, my husband went somewhere in the truck and he backed over my pot. Totally my fault. I left it there. But for now, I don't have a stainless steel stock pot, so I have to use this one. And it's not as big as I would like. Taller is better because when you're making jelly, it's going to boil up a good bit, and we don't want it boiling over. So you're going to see me stirring the jiggers out of this thing to try to keep it from boiling over. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, I'm here to show you how we're going to make jelly. First thing we're going to do is in our pot, we're going to do 5 cups of grape juice. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, as you can see, hold on a second, I got a seed floating right there. It's okay, my hands are clean. Just washed them. Seed got through my strainer. Okay, so as you can see, I have more juice than what I'm using, and I'm going to use it all, but I'm not going to double the recipe at a time. The reason being, the reason you don't want to double your recipes and just do one batch at a time is because you need proper, I don't know how to say it scientifically. You need enough space for it to properly evaporate the amount of moisture it needs to evaporate out of it to properly gel. If you have too much, it's not going to properly have enough space to you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Smaller batch so that it gels properly. Bigger batch, it's not going to have enough space. Does that make sense? Anyway, okay, so next part, we got 6 cups of sugar already measured out because you're going to want to have that ready to go in. We'll turn this on. Okay, I turned this on high, and we're going to bring that to a roll and boil. Once we have that at a roll and boil, we're going to add our pectin. You can make recipes without it, but for the sake of ease and showing you the easiest way to get jelly your first time trying to do jelly, we're just going to use Sure Gel. And now we're going to wait for it to boil. But we're not going to watch it because the watch pot doesn't boil. What I am going to do is I'm going to tell you what else I have ready while this is sitting here. I feel like I'm not doing the best job of showing you how the proper order of doing things is. So let me just lay it out for you while I'm waiting for this to boil. First thing I did is this is a water bath canner. My water bath canner is filled and getting warm. I have it on medium high, getting it ready to go. The next thing that I had was my sugar measured out that I already needed. The next thing I had is my pectin packet ready and here. I have all my tools, my canning tools here. I have my funnel, I have my measurer, I have my jars sitting in hot water over there. You don't want to put hot jelly in a cold jar. You want your stuff to be sanitized. So it's in hot, somewhat soapy water over there. What I'm going to do is when I'm ready, I'm going to turn on my sink, hot as I can handle it, pull out a jar, rinse it under the hot water, set it here. Then I'm going to fill it. So hot jars ready in hot water. And I've got my jar lids. You want to use new lids every time so you get a proper seal. You don't reuse your lids because the seal, this rubber seal inside, could become damaged or worn. You may not get a seal. So the advice is always buy new ones of these. You don't need new these. These get reused. These, it's a good idea to buy new ones. Now, do I still keep my old ones of these? I do. Why? Because when I am putting things in the pantry that are going to be dehydrated, I don't need it to be sealed perfectly because you're not canning that. You're just closing dehydrated foods. If I'm going to be making a freezer jam, I don't use new ones. I use previously used ones. For instance, when I render lard, I will use already used lids, and I will either store it in the refrigerator or in the freezer. And unless you're canning it, you don't need new ones. You just don't want like rusty ones or something. That's how I do it anyway. All right, we're getting close to a rolling boil with our grape juice. You want it to be boiling so hard that when you stir, it doesn't stop boiling. All right, we have our rolling boil now. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in our 1 packet of pectin, 1 packet of Sure Gel pectin. We're going to get that dissolved. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 1 pat of softened butter, which is like a tablespoon, I guess, of butter. And that is just going to help it not to foam up so much. As soon as this is back to a rolling boil, which is very quickly, we are going to add in our sugar. I know that that seems like a whole lot of sugar, but you have to have a proper sugar to juice to pectin ratio, or it's not going to gel up properly. There are recipes where you can use less sugar. There are types of pectin that you can use, and there's even a type of recipe where you can, not use pectin at all, just use lemon juice for the acidity. And then, of course, you have to cook it a good bit longer to achieve that gel. But this is how we're doing it today. And so this is why we're using that amount of sugar to this amount of juice. Now what we're going to do is we're going to stir this until it comes back to a rolling boil. Once we have it up to a rolling boil, we're going to boil it for exactly 1 minute, and then we're going to take it off of the heat. This is the point where when it comes to a rolling boil with the sugar in it, it's going to be a bubbling mess. This is what you want it in a deeper stock pot for. I don't have one of those, so I'm going to try really hard not to make a big mess. I'm known for making a mess. Y'all, I did strawberry jam a couple days ago, and this place was a mess. Actually, when I juiced all these grapes 2 days ago, it was a huge mess. When you are bringing your juice and sugar up to a boil, you want to make sure that you stir constantly. Okay, that's 1 minute. Turn this off. Okay, so the next step, I have taken this off the heat. It's, if you have a film over the top of like a bunch of foam and stuff on it, then you want to take a metal spoon and scrape that off. I added the butter, so I don't have any of that on top. Okay, hot jar, ladle, funnel. You see what I'm doing? Okay. Now we want to fill this to a 1/4 inch. Which I'll show you in just a minute what that means. Right. So on your thing here, if you have one of these, it's going to tell you the measurements on the teeth. This very bottom one, the small one, that's a 1/4 inch. You set that on your jar rim right here, and you want to fill the jelly to that point. And this allows it the proper amount of headspace that it needs to seal properly. Wet rag, wipe the rim, place the clean sanitized lid, seal to fingertip tight, and we're going to go ahead and set this into our water bath canner right here. That's a little warm. And now we're going to do the rest. Y'all, my mic quit. The last couple of videos I filmed and I was going to explain to you what I did, and I did it, and then I noticed that the light wasn't on my mic and it had quit working, even though it was on charge in there. So everything I just said for the last 5 minutes didn't record. So let me tell you what I said. I said that I was going to set the rack of jelly down into the water, put the lid on, and I set it to medium-high heat for 10 minutes. That's gonna process. Then I was telling you that when I was doing the time lapse, you would have seen that I had a full jar of jelly and then I did a small jar of jelly instead. So what happened was I didn't have enough jelly to fully fill this jar to the proper headspace for proper processing. So I pulled out a smaller jelly jar, sanitized that, filled that one to the proper headspace, and then the rest of this that's left can be stuck in the refrigerator. I just put a regular lid on it, and I'm gonna stick that in the refrigerator to enjoy like on biscuits tonight or something. Okay, so my timer just went off. I took the lid off. We're gonna let the lid be off for just a second, and then I'm gonna lift the racks out. You don't want to immediately expose your hot jars to the cool air. So we're gonna slowly do it in a few processes. It's gonna take about 5 minutes, and then we'll be able to use our grabbers and lift the jars out. All right, it's been a minute. Lift out the rack here. Clean that up over the edges. Let that sit for just a minute. You can already hear them popping. Okay. We're going to take these out, and I have a folded up towel sitting over here that I'm going to set them on. You don't want to set your You don't want to set your jars down on a cold counter surface. So I set it on a folded up towel. The little one. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lid back on because I've already got another thing of jelly going here. Put the lid back on, keep it hot, and now I'm going to make this batch of jelly. Okay, I set y'all over here so that maybe not being right there by the counter, maybe you can hear what I'm saying. I'm sorry it was loud. I'm sorry my mic messed up, but this is what I'm doing today, so this is what I'm filming. And I'm sorry if you're an experienced canner and this was very boring. If you were not an experienced canner and you do want to try canning for the first time, jelly is a great, safe, good place to start, and you don't even have to use your own grapes or buy grapes to do it with. Y'all, go to the store, buy yourself a jug of like Concord grape jelly. Not jelly. What the? Come on, Amy. Go to the store and buy yourself a jug of Concord grape juice, some sugar, and a little packet of Sure Gel, and you can do it yourself. There you go. It's really easy. You don't even have to have anything fancy. There's children's and puppets back there. That's what you're seeing. Okay, so once this is finished and I take out my last bit of jelly, from there I'm going to take you outside and I'm going to show you the puppy and I'm going to tell you what his name is. He has a name. Y'all, it is not a name suggested by anyone here. It is not a name that any of the 5 of us Blackburns here even thought of. It's not. It's a name that came from my sister Grace. She suggested it, and she's the only one who threw out this name, and it's different. But, well, the nickname for it isn't different, but the name itself is different, and it's a really cool name, and I'm going to tell you what it is. in just a few minutes. But first, y'all, I gotta clean up my mess. So when this canner is done and I'm done cleaning up my mess, then we'll go out there. All right, y'all, I am losing light out here and it is windy, but real quick, I wanted to tell y'all that this little guy, this little guy's name is Behringer. We're gonna call him Bear for short as a nickname, but Behringer. It's a German name and it means bear and spear or warrior who fights with a spear. This is Behringer. Say hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Sweet boy. Okay.